here. Going to be joined by John Piassek. It's the RacingBiz.com race of the week. We're going to be going to Laurel Park for race 8 on Saturday. That's the Maryland Juvenile Futurity, $100,000 7-furlong race for Maryland bred and Maryland sired 2-year-olds. And took last week off. It was Thanksgiving week. John, how was your Thanksgiving?
I had a great Thanksgiving, but I know Maryland Reds had an even better Thanksgiving. Last Saturday at Laurel, Maryland Reds won 4 open stakes, and across the country, Maryland Reds also did well in other open stakes.
It's good to be a Maryland bred. In fact, the first Maryland or top Mid-Atlantic bred poll came out, and 7 of the top 10 are Maryland breds, which is pretty unusual. I mean, usually it's kind of spread around a little bit. We get some PA breds and whatever. We also have a big New Jersey bred racing on Saturday in the Remsen. That's Pickin' Time, who won the Nashua and who is a major contender to take this next step, the 9-furlong Remsen on the route to the Kentucky Derby.
Absolutely. And as we'll get to in a little bit, this Maryland Juvenile Championship features a horse who also could be a Derby contender.
In fact, let's dive right in here. You're going to go 3, 5, 6. I'm going 3, 6, 5. But where we're both starting is the 3-horse, and you can get about 65-1 on the 3-horse Jackson Traveler in your Kentucky Derby futures, John.
That's correct. Take a plane trip out to Las Vegas, and you can plunk your money down on Jackson Traveler to win the Derby on May 1st. Won't get those kind of odds here in a Maryland Juvenile Championship. He is 4-5 on the morning line. He'll likely be around 1-5 or 2-5, but for very good reason. He has done nothing wrong in his career so far. He's a perfect 2 for 2. He broke his maiden at Pimlico very impressively. He got some light pace pressure and drew off to win by 10 lengths. Last time out, it was basically an exhibition. He opened up a clear lead, pulled away, got through some fast fractions, and won by 4 lengths with a very strong bio speed figure of 83. That's faster than both Malibu Mischief, who is a very fast older filly, who competes in allowances in Maryland and has won, I think, 5 or 6 in a row. She raced on the same day and lower bio than Jackson Traveler. And Jackson Traveler also earned a higher bio than No Sense, who won the James Lewis against a very strong field of 2-year-olds a few weeks later. There's nobody in here who looks fast enough to go with Jackson Traveler early on, so it looks like he'll be able to go after the lead and set his own terms. Going forward, the only problem that you might have is I'm not quite sure how far he wants to go. Both of his wins came at 6 furlongs, and while Johan Lozado has not yet cracked the whip on him, he has shown it to him. And he has kind of had to urge him on in the stretch. Like last out, he was up by about 5.5 lengths in the last 8th. It looked like he was going to he'd win by about 9 or 10. But he was kind of worked on late, and he ended up winning by 4 lengths. Now he's so much better than these. It may not matter if he can't quite go 7 furlongs. He could still win this race anyway. But going forward, if he is going to blossom into a true Derby prospect, I'd like to see him run on better in the stretch here.
Yeah, it's an interesting race in, less so from the idea that, he should win this race. So it's not fascinating in the sense of how you get to the winner, assuming he is the winner. But it's an interesting race in that you kind of need to see something from him here. You want to see him win. If he's the kind of horse who should be getting action in the Derby futures, you want to see him win impressively here, taking a little bit of a step up in terms of the company he's seeing. And you want to see him finish up nice and strong here. As you said, got around 6 lanes clear in mid-stretch last time out, ended up winning, I think, 4.5 on the wire. Didn't finish up quite with maybe quite the zest you would hope for. So you're going to want to see him take that step forward here to be focused all the way through the wire today. And he's adding another furlong, and that's going to be its own question. One side note, a horse he beat in his first time, he absolutely crushed him, was Lugamo. Lugamo came back to win 2 in a row after that, winning a maiden race, then an allowance race, then running 3rd in the James F. Lewis. So Lugamo looks like he's pretty okay. That was a nice effort from Jackson Traveler. He hasn't done a thing wrong, and as you say, will be the deserving favorite here. Now, if he doesn't want to go 7/8 or doesn't have his A game, where else could you look? A couple other places to look. You and I are more or less in accord on the two most likely spots. One of those is the 5-horse Always in a Hurry.
Always in a Hurry raced very well last time, and he does have a win at 7 furlongs, unlike Jackson Traveler. He had a great trip in that start. He sat off the pace on the inside, but he ran on well in the stretch. It wasn't quite like he was kind of chopping his way down the stretch or the race totally fell apart for him. He was coming on late, and he got up to beat 007, a pretty solid horse who he'll see in here, as well as Tate, a Mike Stidham 2-year-old who shipping in from Keeneland in that race and was pretty well hyped going into that spot. I believe he was a solid favorite. 2 starts back, Always in a Hurry, finished second in Maryland Nursery. Kenny Had a Notion, got an even better trip than he did and just ran off the screen. But Always in a Hurry also came from off the pace. He closed well against second. I don't have many concerns about 7 furlongs with him. And if something happens with Jackson Traveler, Always in a Hurry should be right there closing ground and getting a good piece.
Yeah, this is a horse that's definitely moving in the right direction, John. It took him 5 cracks to break his maiden, but now he's won 2 out of 3. And as you said, he was second to stablemate Kenny Had a Notion, both trained by Del Capuano in the Maryland Million Nursery. That last time he got a good ride from Cintron, patient, waited for the inside to open up, which it almost always does if you wait long enough. And it did, and he was able to slip through inside and get up, as you say, over Tate. Tate, pretty well regarded Stidham trainee, who is from the Godolphin operation, and Tate, a horse that had beaten Always in a Hurry a little bit earlier in their careers. So a nice progression that you're seeing from a horse that is certainly moving in the right direction, whether he's moving there fast enough or is going to be good enough to handle a horse like Jackson Traveler, different question. Maybe we'll know a little bit more about that on Saturday in the Juvenile Futurity. Another horse that we both like a little bit here, and again, we're talking about horses that are most likely to be underneath. That's the 6 horse who definitely wins the all-name competition here. That's Ain't the Beer Cold for Kenny Cox.
Yes, he ran a pretty big race last time out, going a mile and a 16th. He was on the pace. He's had pretty fast tractions in there for a mile and a 16th race. The opening quarter, 23 flat to half, 47 flat. He was on that pace. He held up a whole host of challengers and ended up winning by a neck with what is far and away a career best speed figure. He's had a lot of weird things happen to him in his career so far. He broke his maiden pretty easily at Laurel back in August in what was, I believe, the first 2-year-old race of the Maryland season. Went to the sapling next time out. Something must have gone amiss there as he was pulled up. He bounced back quickly, went on the work tab 2 weeks later. Then in Maryland Million Nursery, he had an awful break, got hung extremely wide, and just lost all chance, as he is a horse who does like to be on or near the pace. But last time out, all the stars aligned, and he got up to win. He is a speed horse, as I noted. I don't think he's fast enough to go with Jackson Traveler early, so I'm hoping Angel Cruz doesn't try to engage with him too much, but he could sit just off the pace and hang around late and possibly blow up the exacta or the trifecta at what should be good odds.
Yeah, he's 15 to 1 on the morning line. And a thing I like about this horse is, when you're getting horses with 2-year-olds, when you get to the races going 7/8, for a lot of them, it's the first time, as for Jackson Traveler, first time going 7/8 of a mile. And, that gets harder. Each furlong adds a little different dimension and a little different challenge. This horse, Ain't the Beer Cold, won going 2 turns last time, a mile and a 16. So he's already past the distance test, which I like to see. I also like the horse on the cutback from 2 turns to 7/8. A lot of times that's a horse that delivers a little bit of added punch in the lane. And that's something you kind of need going 7/8 of a mile. You need, as we were talking about with Jackson Traveler, you want to see him finish up. And you need a horse to finish up generally going 7/8. So I think he's an interesting play. He has not shown that he's fast enough yet to contend with the likes of Jackson Traveler, even a couple of these other horses. But I think he's an interesting play, and I think he's worth a little bit of a flyer maybe there. So you're going 3.56. I'm going 3.65. This is a race running directly through Jackson Traveler, the 3-horse from the Asmussen barn, Hall of Famer. It's a West Point horse. A lot of things going on here that certainly look positive. And as we said, he's a horse getting a little interest at any rate from the Derby Future books. So not something we always see in the Maryland Juvenile Futurity, although we have seen it in the past, and including in the first ever Maryland Juvenile Futurity, which involved Deputed Testimony, who won the Preakness, and Caveat, who won the Belmont, and Dixieland Band, who went on to be a sire of consequence, as well as a Grade 1 winner. This race, again, running through the 3-horse Jackson Traveler, a lot different from the race before it, which is the Maryland Juvenile Filly Championship, John, which is a race that is wide open.
Yeah, I mean, it's field of 9 in there, about 5 or 6 of them can win it. You have Joe number 4, already a 2-time winner for the Russells, who are very good. The 2-year-olds, Liam's Missy, a very impressive maiden winner at Belmont last time. Maxine's Tat Room, very impressive maiden winner at Keeneland. And then 2 big locals in here, Miss Nondescript, who won the Maryland Lassie last out with a good closing rally. And Street Loot, already a 2-time stakes winner, got nailed by Miss Nondescript in the stretch of the Lassie, but bounced back and won the Smart Halo against a very good field of open 2-year-old fillies. If she wins this race, it'll be her 3rd stakes winner of the year, and while it still might be a stretch, call her an Oaks contender, she's definitely a filly with a future.
Yeah, it should be an interesting race, should be a fun race. That's the Juvenile Filly Championship. That's race 7. The Juvenile Futurity is the racingbiz.com race of the week. That's race 8, post time 3:53 from Laurel Park. John going 3.56. I'm at 3.65. John, good luck.
Thank you, Frank.
And thank you for watching this little video, and good luck to all of you at the